This is Ryan Elliott for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. We're in Newcastle ahead of Robbie Davis Jr. versus Lewis Ritson tomorrow evening. With me, Billy Nelson. Billy, you've got Martin on the bill tomorrow night. First and foremost though, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks very much. I've been good.
Good to hear. As mentioned, your charge, Martin Bakole, out again, Newcastle tomorrow evening. Late opponent change. I believe the opponent sustained a cut at the last minute. In steps the kingpin, Bakole-Johnson. Any surprises what to expect tomorrow night?
We know we're in against a very experienced, durable opponent, and Martin will need to be on his A game to get a good result.
Are you happy with that opponent at last minute? Bakole-Johnson, someone who's been in with nearly every top heavyweight in the world, gone rounds with almost all of them except Anthony Joshua and one other. Good opponent at last minute?
Well, that speaks for itself, doesn't it? When he's been in with all these top opponents, goes the distance with them. So you've got to be happy with that opponent.
Are you viewing this as a chance for Martin to make a statement? As mentioned, his good friend Anthony Joshua is the only person from over here to stop him, I believe. Kevin's only been stopped twice over a long, long career spanning 2 decades or so. Is it a big chance for Martin to make a statement by getting a stoppage?
Well, if you get a stoppage, it's a statement. But, as I said yesterday, if you get a stoppage, it's a bonus. If you don't get a stoppage and get the victory, that's all we're looking for. We get a victory, move onwards and upwards.
How's this transition been for Martin, going over with Matchroom, obviously coming back off the Hunter defeat? He was in quite a low place, went over to Poland with yourself, got that big win against Mariusz Wach. Since then he started to get a good bit of momentum with Matchroom. How's that transition been?
The transitions went fantastically well. As you're probably very well, Matchroom are the best promoters in the world, especially in the heavyweight division what Martin competes in. With a fight in August, fight here, and we're fighting before the end of the year. There's 3 fights, in a matter of 5 months. We were the guts of a year. We were previous promoters, and a busy fighter's a happy fighter.
Now, I was talking to Martin yesterday about his journey with yourself and how you were the one really there for him after the Hunter defeat. Just looking back now, do you think he's a stronger fighter and a bigger person as well for having that experience, that difficult time, to what we see the Martin Bakole now?
Not necessarily, no. Martin Bakole, I fully expected Martin Bakole to go and beat Hunter, and beat Hunter badly, quite convincingly. There was, as you're well aware, there was a major issue 2 days before the fight, which you can't explain to people, and we choose not to. But like we say, we kind of look back. He's a strong character. He's dealt with what he had to deal with at home. Came back, knocked out Mariusz Wach in front of 9,000 Poles, and then he beat a decent opponent in Pereira, and now we've got Kevin Kingpin, and hopefully a really good fight before the end of the year.
Now, one fight I wanted to ask you about, Derek Chisora was supposed to be facing Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker pulled out with illness, left a big gap for a heavyweight contender to come in. Eddie Hearn mentioned a few names. Martin was one of those. Instead, in steps David Price. Was that fight discussed with yourself? Was Martin really ever in the running for that fight?
We actually put our name forward to fight Derek Chisora. I think it was about 3 months ago. Derek Chisora, our name was mentioned to fight Chisora. We got asked if we were interested. We said we'd take the fight in a heartbeat, and then Team Chisora decided no, they don't want it in it.
I have seen those two sharing rounds before. Martin made it clear to me yesterday, any name put in front of him, he will take. He also said going into next year, I believe he might be out in Monaco before the end of the year, he said going into next year, he does want that Hunter rematch. Do you think that's something realistic? We can expect a chance to right that wrong?
We want a big, in an ideal scenario, we'd like a big fight, either Monaco or Saudi Arabia, and then the winner of Hunter Povetkin, and then a world title fight. That's in an ideal world, whether that happens. But certainly we want a Hunter fight again. We want to right the wrong. Any fighter that gets beat with somebody should want to right a wrong, especially when there was a serious issue. But it was nothing to do with boxing ability, I can assure you. We want that rematch.
Both the Hunter and the Povetkin fight, I'm guessing, would be fairly easy to make, given the links you've all got, same promotional team, etc. Who do you see prevailing in that fight? It hasn't been officially announced yet. We're expecting it for Saudi Arabia. Who do you think will win that fight?
Hunter. It was a wee bit too sharp for him. On the few occasions that Martin hit Hunter, it really hurt Hunter, but it just wasn't often enough because his mind wasn't there. I know fully 100% Martin Bakole will beat Hunter.
One person I want to get your opinion on, Billy, before we move on to this weekend, talking about the other fights. Oleksandr Usyk, we saw him up there making his heavyweight debut in Chicago last weekend against Chaz Witherspoon. Typical Usyk performance in many ways, just took a couple rounds to get settled in, got him out there, went through the gears, too good. How much of a threat do you see Usyk being at heavyweight, and is there anyone you see giving him a major problem up there?
I think all the top heavyweight boys will be a danger to him, but you know, he's a class act. I'd love that fight for Martin Bakole. Martin Bakole was brought up with his brother, who's a southpaw, and a world-class cruiserweight. So there wouldn't be much that a southpaw could bring to the table that Martin Bakole hasn't seen. I mean, if we got asked if we wanted Oleksandr Usyk in February, March, no, we'd take that, no bother.
Now, just to move on to this weekend, Billy, someone you know very well, Lewis Ritson, in there with Robbie Davis Jr., WBA eliminator. So that would sort of put the winner in line to face the winner of Josh Taylor, Regis Prograis next weekend. Talk to me about that fight.
I think it really is a cracking fight. I mean, I know the strengths of Lewis Ritson, having trained him for it was just over a year, I think, in Glasgow. The guy hits hard, he hits real hard. You see his jab, pound for pound, it's the hardest jab it's hit my pads. I mean, undoubtedly it's like an ashtray hitting you in the face, and people get shocked when they get hit with that jab, and then he fires the right hands and the left to the body. But Robbie Davis has got a great skill set as well. I just think it'll be difficult for Robbie to stay away from Lewis Ritson, because I call Lewis Ritson a rash, because he's all over you, and it's very difficult to stay away from him. And you need to be sharp, very clever and strong to keep away from him. I'm only going for maybe. It'll be a hard fight. I mean, my friend manages Robbie Davis, and you know, but I do fancy Lewis Ritson to stop him.
And elsewhere on the card, British title on the line, one of the best domestic fights of the year. Ted Cheeseman in there with Scott Fitzgerald. A lot of people looking forward to that fight. It's hard to see stylistically how that can be anything but a great fight. Can you pick a winner, Billy?
I think Fitzgerald maybe be a wee bit too strong for him, but I think that'll be an absolute barnstormer. I think that'll be a war for round 1 to round 12. Maybe, you know, both guys are capable of stopping each other, but I think on current form, you've got to slightly favour Fitzgerald.
Okay, Billy, I appreciate the weigh-in's going to get going very soon, so I'll leave the final word to you. What do we see from Martin Bakole in Newcastle tomorrow evening?
Well, I hope in an ideal world I want to see him knock him out in the first round, but you know, if he can show 60% of his skill set, people are going to go wow.
Billy Nelson, thank you very much for speaking to Boxing Stuff.